Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, it, if you have not met with me yet, my name's Mackenzie, and I'm a Curate Success Manager here. So you'll probably see me in and out of meetings sometimes, things like that. We've also got Jamie from Chat Support, so you will communicate and see him in chat. So thank you so much for joining us. This is being recorded, so if you do have it or like someone from your team that you'd like to see it, you will get a follow-up email with the recording if you need it. So this is being recorded, so that's great. And be sure to jump into the Q&A portion if you'd like to ask any questions. So there is a little Q&A button in your Zoom screen, so feel free to jump in there and ask questions as Jamie and I go. We'd be happy to take some time to answer those at the end of the webinar, so feel free to jump in there. And then let's see. So yep, you'll get a follow-up email with the recording tomorrow. So you can share that with your team if you'd like. And then also, if you see a feature that you are really loving, that Jamie and I present today, that you want to let us know, feel free to jump into chat. And there's a little webinar chat. You can jump in there and give it a shout out that you like that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and dive in. We're going to touch through all of the most recently added features and the new software. So super excited to work through all of those today. And I am going to actually start in the proposal. So you can see I'm under the portal within this Julie and David wedding. So there's a couple of things we've added when it comes to proposal aesthetics, photos, things like that. Just a good workflow. So under your table of contents, you have the option to add content. So we've been adding a bunch of awesome things within this add content slide out. So we call these different containers that you can insert into your proposals. We've talked about a bunch of these, well, probably most of these in other webinars the last few months, but we have added a couple more the past few weeks here. So you can see the first one is the masonry grid. So this is just showing you where you actually, I'll just go down here and show you. I've added a couple here. I've added 8 photos, but I'll open this up in the pencil button. So what I did was I just added it to my proposal, and then I dragged it up from the bottom to where I wanted it. And then if I want to edit this, I'll click into the pencil button. You can see where I'm able to show this header if I want to show that or not. So it's just going to show the text that you've added. You can edit this text to be whatever you want that to say. You can see where there is a color palette across the top. So we do love the color dropper where I can grab the dropper and then go through a photo and find the colors that I like. So we love that. And then you can see here for this masonry grid, you can have the option to add 4 columns of photos, like 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, or you could add 3. So if you add 3, it does make it a little bit larger of photos. So I do like to use the 4 column, 4 rows of photos here. You can also notice that you can add up to 50 files, so 50 photos, and then JPEG or PNG files are preferred here. But you will be able to add up to 50 photos here. They will format just like how you've added them. So, but if you did want to do some more adjusting, of course, you can go in here and adjust your images. You can crop them, zoom in, things like that. And then you can also replace them or delete them if you would like to do that. And then, of course, you can go down and keep selecting the images that are coming from your media library. So all these images are coming from your media library, but we did add this full masonry board. So you can add a bunch more photos than kind of how it was before, where it was just 6. So this is the one that we had previously, which is still available if I go and add content, but we've just added the option for up to 50 photos. And as I'm working through this, you can add as many masonry grids as you'd like, as many inspiration covers as you'd like. You can just really build this out to be exactly how you want it to be. And then a really big piece is being able to drag and drop these things to where you need them using this table of contents And then you can also rename them, hide them, things like that. So that was the new masonry grid over here in this slide out. But the next thing that I wanted to touch on was documents on proposals. So we did add the option to add documents to proposals. So if I add that to my proposal, I would just click add to proposal, and then it would show up at the bottom, and you would just drag it to where you want it to be in the proposal. So I already did that for us, but you can see I dropped it under here, underneath this inspiration board I've created. So you can see if I open up this documents pencil button, I really love this feature. It's neat. So you can see where you can add a different header if you don't want that to say documents. And then you can just go in and upload files from your computer. So you'll be able to upload files from your computer. It's going to give you the option to add all kinds of different types. So Excel, JPEG, PDF, CSV files. I've even gotten word that you could add videos as well. So really cool things that you can add in this document section, including videos that I've heard. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong. But you can add as many documents as you'd like. And then here you will be able to decide if you want them to be customer facing or internal only. So using these eyeballs, you can decide if you want to hide them for your customers or go ahead and showcase those to your customers to see. So I love this. I love this update here. And then it shows just like this on a proposal. Right now, there's no way to make edits on what these icons look like, but I think these look really nice and clean, these icons here. So you will be able to add those and have them on your proposals now. So that was documents on proposals, and you also found them in this add content slide out. The next one that we've added over here in this add content slide out is a text field. So I'll go ahead and add that using this little text button. So if I add to proposal, it will show up at the bottom, which I'm then going to drag it and drop it where I want. And so what this one's for, I mean, this could really be used in so many different ways, but this is just like a header of text. So I dropped it here, but if I open up using the pencil button, this could be different types of text. In this case, I'm just going to use just the name of the event. And then this is a big piece here. You can see where there is the event description now. So if you were playing around in Curate before, like just a couple weeks ago, it was showing, this event description was showing like in the people and vendors section. So you would notice that there's your people and vendors. You can add your different contacts that are associated with the event, and then you have that event description box. But now, moving forward, if you do create a new event in the next few weeks or whatever that might be, it will now show up in like this new text field. So you'll be able to go in here, add what you want for your text, and you will no longer see that text box in the people and vendors section. So just a heads up there, but it will still show up on a proposal, just like how it was before. Just moving forward, any new event that you might create is going to no longer show up in the people and vendors section. So we did add a text box for you to be able to add a header and your own event description, event box, whatever you might want to use that for. It's just a nice place to add text or different things that you might want to showcase to your customer.
And to
So
jump in
those
real
are the
fast
three
too.
things. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the jump in real fast too. One of
Yeah.
the use cases for this, this came from a feature request, not only to be more flexible with adding these boxes like throughout, just for like you know, event details information, but also for payment information. So
Mm.
for our customers, we have a mix of customers that will use our integration with Stripe. Some who do not use that, they would like to have a place to inject information about how payments can be made. So that was another like big use case for that box. So just
Oh,
want to share
thanks,
that.
Jamie. I appreciate that. Yeah, so in that case, I I'm going to show you an example of like what you could use that for, that Jamie was talking about use cases, how to showcase different ways to pay. So you could do that. I'm going to actually move this down again. You could do that by grabbing this pencil. We're going to edit this. Maybe this could say something like ways to pay. And then you could come in here and you could say like credit card. Scroll down on the proposal and click the Pay Now button. These are just examples. You could even do like Venmo, and you can add a clickable link here. So just like you can kind of go through different ways to pay if you want to do that. This is just an example, but that is a good use case. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah. So we've added the text boxes, the documents to proposals, and then the new masonry grid. So super exciting things here when it comes to like proposal aesthetics, different ways to communicate to your customers and things like that. The next thing I wanted to jump into is under the orders tab. So right now I'm in the portals tab. This tab is really good for like communication, showcasing photos, aesthetics, showcasing vendors and venues. But then the orders tab is where you build out all of your line items, your sections, your recipes if you do that. So I'm going to jump into the orders tab. And something that we've added the past few weeks is the last webinar last month, we had showed you through where you can make bulk edits on line items using these little check boxes that appear. And then this little edit box appears down here, and you can go in and change up the statuses. You can change up quantities in bulk. You can change categories. But one thing we've added in this bulk edit on the line items is the ability to add markup profiles. So you could add markup profiles to many line items at one time if you'd like. So that's just one other option that we've added on this bulk edit slide out. So that one's pretty handy. And then the last thing I think I'm going to chat with you about is we had moved the markup profiles. So whenever you're building your recipes, you will have like a markup breakdown. So if I expand one of these line items, for example, you will see under item details here. Actually, I'm sorry, recipes here. Here we go. Okay. So maybe some of those other ones didn't have recipes, but we can see where if I expanded this head table centerpiece, you can see where you've got your recipes that you could definitely work on and add. But then this item details tab includes the markup breakdowns. So if you're curious on where those markup breakdowns might be, showcasing the different markups, things like that, it is in this slide out under item details. So yeah, that's where it is. It's moved. So if you are curious about where that is, it is showing there. I think that's all I had on my side. So I will pass it on to Jamie. I'll stop sharing my screen, and he's going to walk us through some other exciting features added.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me just a second here. There we go. Set out of the way. There we go. Zoom has a lot of bars and stuff that I have to adjust every time.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay, I'm in business now. All right. Yep. So Jamie Martin, manager, Curate customer support. Definitely see some familiar names, from the chat. So happy you could join us today. All right, so I'm going to jump in. A majority of the stuff I'll be covering actually came from feature requests. So just a quick side note, if you have any suggestions,
Mhm.
I'll just do a quick plug immediately. We have the chat bubble, and then under the settings that you have under the home screen, we have an article set up that will share how to submit feature requests. And basically, what this would do, this will lead you to a new portal that we recently opened up. And the cool thing about it is this will allow you to vote for new feature suggestions that other folks have also submitted as well. So not only can you like submit your own in, but you can also like upvote other people's suggestions as well. So if you go through and you take a look and like, oh, that's a really good idea, I'd like that too. You can leave a comment on it, and that will count as an upvote for that feature too. So anyway, just throwing that out there. So first up, we have rentals. So for our folks that use rentals, we've added a feature where you can specify the location. So for example, on my screen here, I have this 6-foot table. And if I click into it, notice how we have this location option here. So I'm going to click into my pencil icon. We'll just say this is the Atlanta building. Hit save. And there we go. And so what that would do, that will help specify if you have your rental items in multiple locations, or even if they're at the same location, if you just want to specify the room that they're in. I've seen it as granular as one of our customers. They not only put the building, but they also put the room it was in, and they they had the categorization down to like a shelf number. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, there's tons of flexibility with it because it is an open-ended text field. So you can pretty much, specify how you want it to be laid out. So, but that actually came from a feature request. So that's why I did that plug at the beginning there. So it was our first item. And then next up, we have date and time formats. So this has been a request that we've had in. So since we've been able to address some of the module stuff and creating events and duplicating events, we now had the ability to offer the adjustments of different time formats, for example. So you can do the 12-hour format or the 24-hour format, otherwise commonly known as military time. So that's one option. And then also date format too. So this came up from some of our overseas customers as well. So just being able to give different options there. So it will default to whatever you have set up today. So you don't necessarily have to go back and select something different unless you want to for either of these options. But just wanted to point those out. And as always, since we were talking settings, if you make any changes, don't forget to hit your save button in the top right corner. And then next up, not really anything in depth to show with this, but another feature request. We've had some customers that want to utilize the Stripe integration through payments. So if we go over to payments, give it a second to load. So the difference that we did here, as you're going through the onboarding process now, if you have multiple locations, you can now connect more than one Stripe account. So if you were originally working off of just one account, but you're thinking of doing a second location, you want to do a secondary Stripe account for that, just to keep the money side of things in separate buckets, you can totally do that now with this integration change. So not really a lot to show there. It's just part of the onboarding process. So it will give you the option, ask a few questions around that for you. So, and if you already have Stripe set up and you're interested in doing that, you can actually disconnect the current Stripe connection and just go through the motions again, and it will allow you to pick up on like the multiple locations if you want to go that route. So we did some testing on that before it released a few days ago. So along a similar pipeline, Google Calendar, we've had the integration in place in Curate for a little bit now, but we did do a change also based off of a customer request. If I'm going to go into the gear icon, so now you can choose various calendars to sync from. Before it was just like whatever your default calendar was. So as you can see here, I have a few that are on my calendar. Mackenzie's on here too because we work so closely together. So I could share events straight to her calendar if I want to. That could be one example. As you can see, I also have a team calendar too. So sometimes in chat, we'll have situations where, if it's a company that has multiple employees, maybe not every single employee is in Curate, right? So you're trying to think of an easy way to distribute these events out to your team members. Setting up like a team calendar could be beneficial. And that's something you could do on the email side. Obviously, Gmail makes it really easy because you can set up like a distribution for that. And then in a nutshell, from there, you could come back here, select the team calendar, and then as long as they have access to that calendar, they can see the exact same information. So you don't have to always use your personal calendar unless you want to. So, and then jumping over next, this is going to be in reference to an update that we did to filters. So if you ever wanted to get a finite timeline of a list of your events in a quick and easy manner. We did do an update on how to do that with our filters. So as you can see, I'm on my main events page for my example account here. I'm going to jump over to filters on the right side, and then I'm going to jump down to where it states start date. Now, start date has been here for a little bit now, but the change that we did, we wanted to try to speed up the process. So if there's like a specific time frame that you're looking to work off of, as you can see, we have a number of options here. One side note of that, if for example, if I were to select today, notice how we'll update the start date, today's date. The way it's set up now, we're already looking at a way to change this. This is mostly just a heads up at the moment in case you do choose to use this. If I were to select today, use it for today, log out of my system, log back in tomorrow, it's going to maintain the date of when you select it. So in this case, it would be the 11th, right? But if I were to log in tomorrow, you would want to do a minor update there. So that is something that after it was released, that came up in conversation. So we're already working on making an adjustment to that. And same goes like if you do 7 days, it's just going to grab whatever the 7 day window is from the time you selected it up till that 7th day. So just wanted to make sure there was awareness around that. As always with filters, so I always like to do a disclaimer. This will save to your local computer. So if you're logged into your main computer that you work from and you add a filter, hit apply, even if you fully log out of the system and log back in later, notice how it has like a number beside the filter icon. That's going to be an indicator, hey, there's a filter in play. So if you're using this one day, the next day you're coming back and you're like, oh, I can't find event XYZ, always double check and make sure, filter isn't on because that could be interfering. To clear it out easily, we have filters clear all. Going to do that. Then I'm going to hit apply. And there we go. That puts me back to my default view. But that's the big pickup for that. Very beneficial. Already had a couple conversations with some customers about that, so I think it's a quick win there. And then the last one, not really a lot to show here, but for custom properties for our folks that use those, if you're unfamiliar, I can give you a quick visual. So if I go into settings, we have custom properties along our breadcrumb navigation bar here. And I have a number because I do a lot of testing, as many of you know, just from chatting with me through Curate chat. But in a nutshell, if you have any custom properties and you have this set up inside, say like in a template event that you may have, and you like to duplicate from that, we made an enhancement. Before, it would just duplicate the custom property field, and that was it. So any content inside that main event. So for example, if I had like specific details for one of these custom properties that I did want to have carry over from one event to another, whether it's a template or not. Before it would just carry over the custom property name, but now it will actually carry over the data too. So that was based off of some conversations that we had internally and with customers as well. So just a quick note on that. Not really anything major to show there. And then lastly, so we talked about feature requests already. Let me see if there's anything else. See a chat. Okay, excellent. And then, yeah, so really the last thing I have to talk about, I know I mentioned putting in feature requests, just a couple more things too. My team has been working heavily on the knowledge base articles. So as always, just like with feature requests, if there's a certain article or something that you would like to see a write-up for, definitely reach out to us and chat for that as well. Happy to, spend time doing that. I always make a ton of videos too. So if you ever follow along with the news center, which you can get to that through the help bubble as well. I actually posted one yesterday to make sure we had everything ready for today's event. Yeah, just let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to cover. So one of my initiatives for 2025 is doing deep dives within certain aspects of our application as well. So if you ever wanted to like go through a use case from a training perspective, or if you're looking to onboard people, this could be helpful as well because working on onboarding videos internally for when we bring on new Curate employees, I like to also turn those into external videos as well. So if there's something that you feel that would be beneficial to help with onboarding any new employees within your company, feel free to shoot us a message for that too, since that's going to be a big thing I'll be focusing on next year. So, but I think that's all for now. Double checking my notes. Yep, I think I'm good for now. We're coming up close to being on time. So Mackenzie, I'll pass it back over to you.
Thanks, Jamie. Some really great features this week. If there's any other questions that you have about any of that, feel free to, we'll be around for just a couple minutes. Feel free to jump into Q&A or chat. We're happy to talk through some of these features that we talked about today. And then, as Jamie mentioned, feel free to jump into the chat bubble, click on the news tab, and you're going to see all these updates that we talked about within that. Jamie did a good job at adding videos to those and bullet points. So everything we talked about is also on that news bubble within the chat function. But I think that's it for today. So feel free to jump off. You will be getting a recording of this for your team if you need it. And we'll just be around for a couple more minutes. So thank you so much and have a good rest of your day. Hey, Helen, I see that you're still on. Feel free to email us or jump into chat if you have any other questions. But I'll go ahead and hop off today, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.